Hello, I'm XRTT, and today, as part of Gamera's 60th anniversary celebration, I will be covering the third film in the series, titled Gamera vs. Gyaos. First, a few words about the cinema from the year of its release. World cinema is home to classics like Cool Hand Luke, The Tilt Dozen, and another of the Bond series movie, or movies. Because we get one with Sean Connery, We Only Live Twice, but also Casino Royale, starring David Niven as Bond. Looking at the main competitor, we see that a smaller version entered the scene, in Son of Godzilla, in December. Moving on to two related matters. Gamera vs. Gyaos is sequel with all the elements that we represent in subsequent Gamera films, most notably the return of the chief protagonist, and that was quite fine quit, where we certainly have some typical elements here, showing that only a chief noticed certain things that others don't notice at all. In this case, no one else noticed the fact that Gyaos only leaves his hideout at night, never during the day. The fact that Gamera has an opponent is nothing new. Since the previous film, they've appeared in every film. But Gyaos is a unique opponent because he becomes Gamera's iconic opponent, the only one that appears in all the series. Here, of course, we have an appearance in the Showa era. Additionally, in Gamera vs. Guiron, Space Gyaos appears, a repainted version of the regular version. In the Heisei trilogy, Gyaos is the opponent in the first film, and Hyper Gyaos also appears in the third film. In Gamera the Brave, Gyaos are seen at the very beginning. It was also one of the 5 opponents showed in anime Gamera Rebirth. Gyaos is also featured in the short film produced for Gamera's 50th anniversary. The film structure is typical. Gamera arrives and loses his first encounter with his opponent, but ultimately defeats him. Along the way, we have some interesting scenes. Gyaos is a cowardly reporter, Gamera saves the chief protagonist and gives him a ride on his shell. We also have some great fight scenes, with Gamera rolling to avoid Gyaos lasers, Gamera stuffing a rock in his mouth, and so on. I also found the scene when Gyaos slices a car in half quite amusing. Nissan Nakanashi, the screenwriter, added it to the script after seeing a Toyota Corolla cut in half at the Tokyo Motor Show. It's also quite comical, as the racing Miak only cuts the body, leaving the chassis intact. Among the other cool scenes, Gyaos' craft regeneration is a nice effect. Now some behind the scenes production information. This scene was filmed in an aquarium, and according to Stuart Garber IV, the actors standing in the background in this scene are Sweet actor Ru Aragaki and an unknown second actor. Gamera's flying style was changed from 4 engine to 2 engine to save money. Time to talk about the people involved in the production. This is the second film to be directed by Noriaki Yuasa, a position he would hold until the end of the Showa era. Kojiro Honda played Keisuke Hirata in Gamera vs. Barugon. Here he played foreman Shino Tsunowo. In Gamera vs. Viras he played Codemaster Mr. Shimida, and in Gamera Guardian of the Universe in 1995 he played Captain Nojima, making him one of the few to have played in both Showa and Heisei eras. Yoshiro Kitahara played in 4 Gamera movies. In Gamera the Giant Monster he was Mr. Sakurai. In Gamera vs. Barugon, he appears as Professor Amano. Here he played Dr. Aoki, and finally, he was Masao's father in Gamera vs. Viras. Munehiko Takada also played in 4 Gamera movies. He appeared as Soviet representative in Gamera the Giant Monster. He played Shinkansen Kushitomer Hill, Jin's father in Gamera vs. Viras, and as foreign helicopter pilot in Gamera vs. Jigger. Kenji Oyama played the role of Minister of Defense in Gamera the Giant Monster. Here he appeared as District Police Commissioner. Sho Natsuki played in 6 movies. He appeared as Ichiko Hitara in Gamera vs. Barugon, here as a self-defense force general, in Gamera vs. Viras as Brilliancy, in Gamera vs. Guiron as news reporter, in Gamera vs. Jigger as Dr. Suzuki, in Gamera vs. Zigra as Doctor. Koichiro Ito in Gamera vs. Barugon played Metropolitan Police Superintendent General. Here he appeared as Ras Company chairman. Gai Harada played Kishimoto in Gamera vs. Barugon. Here he played an specific role. Reiko Kasuhara here is Sumigo Kananura. In Gamera vs. Guiron, she played Barbella. In Gamera vs. Zigra, she appeared as Kyoko Ishikawa. Shin Minasu played in Gamera Giant Monster as announcer at Sapporo Broadcasting Station. In Gamera vs. Barugon as Avaibality crewman. Here he is playing Okabe the photographer, and in Gamera vs. Zigra, he played a specific role. Gamera was again played by Teruka Lagak. This is his second of the 3 films he played this kaiju. Time for a few words about the film's cultural impact. This film was screened at the Tokyo International Film Festival in 2015 to celebrate Gamera's 50th anniversary. As one of the 4 Gamera films, the other 3 being the Heisei trilogy, so Gyaos was the only representative of the Showa era. Mystery Science Theater explored this twin first. First in the 6th episode of the season aired at KTMA TV, which has local coverage. Then, after switching to the more broadly available comedy channel, it was subject of the 8th episode of the 3rd season. Some references appear also in 2 other episodes centered on Gamera. In the season 3 episode episode discussing Gamera vs. Ziggler, the motive for creating a drama based on Gamera vs. Gyaos appears, as in the much later season, released in 2022 episode about Gamera vs. Ziggler, there is a reference to this film. In the movies, in the 1997 film Goku to Kuroshakai, the protagonist, Yuji, watches a clip from this film on his computer. Pacific Rim Uprising, released in 2018, have a scene featuring Gabriel's skull of various kaiju, including Gamera and, interesting to us in this context, Gyaos. The fifth season of the Franklin series features the episode Franklin in the Dark, an adaptation of the book of the same name. Franklin, the protagonist, is afraid of the darkness of his shell. In the original book, he imagines ordinary, generic monster lurking within his shell. In the series, the creator decided to include a solid Easter egg. The four visible monsters are based on Gamera classic adversaries. There are Gyaos, Villa, Jig, and Bargon, which perfectly matches the face of Franklin, a turtle after all. As usual, the film was used on all major media: VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray. In my video about Gamera the Giant Monster, I discussed the release of Gamera the Complete Collection from Arrow. Gamera vs. Gyaos is of course part of this set, with the original Japanese audio, English dubbing, and audio commentary by Stuart Gabriel IV. Streaming online Gamera vs. Gyaos is quite easy, especially for viewers in the US, with access to it on many services, including the lodging-free Tubi.tv. Comically, we've received a two-manga version. According to Wikizilla, the fifth manga was released alongside the film in 1967, but I haven't found any additional information about it. The second adaptation is newer, released in 1995 as the second volume in the series adapting all the films from the Showa era, in a minimally altered order. The third film, discussed now, was adapted as the second volume, and the second film, Gamera vs. Bargon, was adapted in the third volume. There was also no shortage of toys related to this movie, either released individually or in multipack, featuring Gamera and her Showa adversaries. A number of toys based on Gyaos from later films were also released. I will skip this. I will show them in the appropriate videos. The next recording will be about Gamera vs. Virus, but for now, that's all. Thanks you for watching, leave a like and subscribe if you liked it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!